Welcome back to Chosen, discovering the life of true parents and their impacts on the world. Thanks for being with us. We're really glad you made it. During this 21-day docu-series, we are exploring the lives of our true parents who are without a doubt the most amazing couple of all time. If you've never heard of true parents before, don't worry, but let me put it this way. I know of no other couple in human history that has impacted every nation, every sector of society, let alone in such a short amount of time. How did this mission, which started with such humble beginnings, span the entire globe in just a few years to become a worldwide movement? Well, stick with us over the next few days and you will find out. In yesterday's show, we journeyed to Europe and met with Dr. Balcom and his team. We visited England, Germany, Czech Republic, Albania, and France, covering topics from the early church to current activities and breakthroughs. Thank you, Dr. Balcom, for coming on the show. Thank you to your team, and I hope that you and your blessed families were finally able to access the full episode on the live restream. Also, a special thanks to you, Mrs. Gertrude Koch, for attending yesterday as our special guest. Our chat box literally flooded with love and gratitude for your couple's lifetime investment as a model of faith. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing those priceless memories. Now, if any of you have missed any of our first 5 episodes, don't worry, you can sign up for a lifetime access to the full 21 episode series, plus a growing library of bonus content by clicking the button below. And now it's time for our featured story. Here we are, continuing our journey around the world to relish in the footsteps of true parents' incredible mission to save humanity. Have you ever been to Asia? Well, I hope you have your passports ready because that is where we are going today. Moments ago, I met with Dr. Robert Kittle, and he has been working in Asia for countless years. So we asked him to share a few of the highlights of True Parents' work there. Today's feature story is titled Asia, where True Parents' message blossoms from fertile soil. Please enjoy.
Father sent out the missionaries in 1975, so my first mission country was Pakistan, and I lived there for 8 years. And then after that, I went to Sri Lanka, and I lived there about 6 years. And then I went to India, and I lived there on and off for more than 10 years. And then after India, I went to Nepal for 10 years, and then Thailand for 2 years, and now I've been in 1 year here in the Philippines. I was sent out as a missionary to Pakistan, and I had no idea what Islam was. Pakistan, of course, is a Muslim country. I had no idea at all. I mean, zero. And so I had to study Islam, but my determination was, if I find something there that I can learn from, or even is better than the teaching that I come from, I must admit that, I must adopt that, I must work with that. And so I don't read Arabic, but I got 3 different English translations of the Quran, because I had to make sure on some key passages, you've got to really be sure. And if you can quote 3 English versions, pretty much you've got, your bases covered. And so then after Pakistan, then I moved to Sri Lanka. That's a Buddhist country. So then I studied Buddhism because I have to make that bridge. And after that, I moved to India, and that's a Hindu country. And so I've got to, again, study that. And you've got Hinduism and Jain, and you've got Sikhs. You've got a lot of different religions in India. So you have to study a lot. And that, to me, is exciting. And it's again, it's educational, and it's an opportunity to make many, many different bridges.
You've been an educator for most of your life in the movement, correct?
Very much so.
How did that begin?
I met this movement having had a very powerful experience with Jesus. And I was actively searching different religious groups, and I met this movement at the University of Utah. I ended up joining this movement. That's a longer story. But then I was having, from this Christian background, I was able to meet with Christians very easily. And I left Salt Lake City and went to Nevada, and then started witnessing and bringing Christians to the workshops. And well, one of my experiences early on was I was sitting with my guest, and we started the lecture, and he just interrupted and said, before we begin, I just have one question, just one question. And the lecturer said, yeah, that's fine. What is it? He said, do you believe in the blood of Jesus? And the lecturer said, well, no, not really, but we'll get to that. Just wait a moment. And the guest said, I don't need to wait anymore. And then he walked out, and I realized that the answer was not correct. And because of that, the guest left. And so at that point, I determined I must lecture, I must teach, because so much effort is put into bringing guests. And then when you teach, you have to be the vehicle, the bridge, so that they can connect to God and to the principle. And that's really a life-threatening position that you take. What I like most when I teach with an audience is not one specific audience. Even if I've got one audience of just Christians, I will quote from the Quran and from the Bhagavad Gita and from the Dhammapada and the Adi Granth and others, because you do two things. You connect those different religions to the principle. So you're making a vertical connection. Each one will have a different passage. The words will be different, but the concept, the principle will be the same. So you're connecting these words to the principle, and then another religious scripture connecting these words. And so you're making that vertical connection. And then because of that, you're making the horizontal harmony and saying, wow, we're actually teaching the same thing. We're trying to do the same thing. Let's work together to get this job done. So you get the vertical and dimension. So for me, I love, it doesn't matter what audience I have, I teach with a multi-religious perspective. It's just so much better.
How would you describe Father's mindset about what you're saying, or examples of him teaching that way or leading you that way?
Well, the one quote that comes to my mind is from the Divine Principle. I'm going to paraphrase it. It's in the introduction. And Father said, these teachings, meaning the principle, must be able to unite all philosophies, all religions, and all ideologies together. And to me, that's the mission statement of what the Divine Principle is talking about. Father had a specific agenda towards Christianity because of his mission and because of his work in America. So that's why the Divine Principle is there more strongly within the Christian realm when it quotes and uses quotes from the Bible. But at the same time, Father initiated the world scripture. I mean, that's a very much of an inter-religious denomination. Again, looking for common principles within the various traditions. And so it's very much part of Father's ministry, very much so. One thing I've done here in this region is when we talk about history, traditionally, there's only the Western Christian history that we talk about. So I've had to develop an entirely complementary part of history, calling it more of the correlate history. Not, we've used the word peripheral or auxiliary or non-chosen in our different books, and those don't work out here, because it means kind of like secondary or alternative. In God's heart, that's not the case. God has a central history, and he has a correlate history, and he's working for both of those because he wants the whole picture to be restored. So we use the word correlate history. So I've looked at the history of China, the history of India, the history of Islam, and linked them with the central history of Christianity. And it's like a hand in a glove, and it's an amazing connection that is made at that time. And it's revival, because when you look at the history and you see, well, God is alive in history, that is a powerful experience. It's not just a God of theology or theory, but God is active in history, means he's active now too. Well, what is he doing now if he's involved in history? And that becomes very, very real. And Father talks about it as the footprints of God, the fingerprints of God in history. when we were missionaries in training in 1975. Father would speak to us, and then one time, Father told Mother, I want you to speak. And this was unusual because Mother didn't speak publicly. She's, at that time, was not comfortable. Now she's, oh my gosh, grand slam. But at that point, and she didn't talk long, but I remember very much what Mother said, and I have kept it in my heart and used it to save my spiritual life many times. And Mother looked at us and she said, at times in your life of faith, there will come dark clouds, I think those are the words she used, that will just cloud your vision and you won't be able to see at all. She said, my advice, do not make decisions at this time because you don't have any vision. Wait. Those clouds will pass, and then you will be able to have a clearer vision so that you can make major decisions in your life. And when Mother told us that, I knew that she's not speaking of kind of like psychological tricks or theories, but she was speaking from her own personal experience. And I realized Mother has just given us the key to her success as true mother. And I don't know how many dark clouds have come Mother's way, but she knows how to handle them. And she knows that at these times, I've got to just hunker down. I just got to find that inner strength within me and not move. And as people know more and more of Mother's life, and I'm sure nobody knows it completely except a true mother, a true father, but the storms that they've gone through are unbelievable. I mean, really, really unbelievable.
It's a great tip. And, we hear her talking about that recently when she refers to, sandstorm, desert, needle in the storm, or the 55 days, even now during lockdown and the Jungsang, she starts with that. I don't know whether clouds are afoot, but it's kind of like we see it sometimes hinted at in her own testimony, in her own speech. So I agree with you. That's not theory. Yeah. That's very much coming from her practice. Within the realm of Asia, what would you say has been True Parents' greatest single moment or impact? The mission is the same, you could say, all over the world. Each nation and continent might have its own particular angle, but very much each nation and continent has its own circumstance, its own culture, religions, and so on. So given the work that they're seeking to do globally, what would you say unique to Asia, which event or which initiative of True Parents has had the greatest impact, would you say?
There's a domino to that, so I'm going to have to explain more than just one. I think the beginning point was their investment into Nepal and the opportunity to raise up Honorable Eknath and the Nepalese movement so that he became having the position of a minister in the government 2 times. This is in a communist government, so it's not a simple thing. And we were a very small party, so the odds were against us. But True Parents invested, prayed, and asked for that to happen. And on that foundation, then Honorable Eknath, when we had our summit series, we've had a series of summits all over the world, and we've done them in Nepal, in Cambodia, and in Palau, 3 countries in the Asia Pacific. And because of his experience as a government minister, that has allowed us to work with governments on an equal footing. And you got to almost do this when you walk into the office. I was a government minister. Suddenly you can talk to other ministers, and you have the experience of working with your prime minister. Can work with others, and so on that foundation, then we were able to bring. I think the biggest victory in Asia is bringing the Prime Minister of Cambodia to the World Summit, and that was on the foundation of Honorable Eknath's personal investment, Dr. Young's support, clearly his support, his prayer, his chung song, but we also had Honorable Eknath as a member of the government of Nepal. That means that meeting of equals is very important. And then behind that, Honorable Eknath is blessed to a Filipino beautiful sister. So he's got connections here in the Philippines. And so he used, again, that foundation we already had relationships with Jose de Venecia, 5-time speaker. And Jose de Venecia had a personal, long-time friendship with Hun Sen, Prime Minister Hun Sen in Cambodia. So these start connecting together. It's a domino game. There's not one event. If you get one event and that's all, then you're not playing the game right. It will be multiple, and it will start to cascade. And so the Prime Minister of Cambodia went to Nepal, and he had a very good experience. And then when we wanted to have our second program in Cambodia, he was very happy. In fact, it was the biggest delegation to the Nepal summit. He hired a private plane and took 60 people from Cambodia to Nepal. It was unprecedented. And he had a very good experience there.
Explain a little bit about if you've heard, impact of that trip for him. You know, the president of Cambodia attending the World Summit this year. What was his experience?
His prime minister.
Yeah, Prime Minister of Cambodia. What was his experience?
He was delighted. The highlight of his experience was at the birthday celebration of True Mother, when she received the flowers, and then she turned around on stage and gave them to him. Unscripted, completely unscripted, purely from the heart. I saw him smile, the biggest smile I ever saw. I mean, and it touched his heart. And he could see the impact of this program, the other people that were there with Ban Ki-moon, with 120 former current heads of state, the parliamentarians, the religious leaders, the educators, the academia. I mean, we had the bases covered, and youth. And at that time, he determined, we had announced an MOU with Myanmar. That was going to be our next program. And he told us privately, I will go to Myanmar. So that means we've had 3 different programs with the current prime minister of a country. So that personal relationship, I think, speaks more than anything else. We weren't able to do the Myanmar program, although the vice president of Myanmar was also at the summit, and they did sign the MOU. COVID-19, the coronavirus has put a delay on that. But anyway, so that is the highlight of his experience, I think. A moment, an unscripted moment of pure love.
Love it. Unscripted and for him unusual. I mean, you're describing the world at this level of working with dignitaries of other countries and government officials. These type of impromptu familial moments is something that Mother's bringing to the table. This is unique.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid of the coronavirus. Remember what happened in Korea? This was when the pandemic was starting.
Yes.
What we did vis-a-vis other Christian groups in Korea, they brought their people back to Korea. We said, no, there were 150 people from the Greater China area that we had bought tickets for.
Wow.
And they were planning to come. And on our side, not their side, we said, please don't come. So it means we talk about willingness to sacrifice. I think that protected our event. And it was Mother's call whether that should go forward. It was discussed and debated, and we heard the internal reports later. Mother said, no, this time is God's time. It has to go forward. God will protect us. And it was amazing. It never happened. And the store, we were in the Lotte Hotel and the Lotte shopping complex. One lady fainted, and they didn't even know why she fainted, and they closed down the Lotte department store. They just shut it down. And we saw that. And we thought, if there was one person that displays symptoms of the coronavirus, they will shut us down without hesitation. They didn't. So to me, this is a testimony of 2 things. One is the willingness that we have to put our priorities right and make sacrifices when they are necessary. And it means we're not in this just to promote ourselves or to get more people in the event. We have a higher agenda. In this case, it's really the protection of the nation of Korea, and also of God's providence. We feel God is working at this event. And so I think, anyway, those are the stories that I kind of pick up from the summit, as you asked.
Thank you. From the perspective of the cultures in Asia, Dr. Kittle, are most religious leaders and religions seen to be patriarchal in nature?
Yes.
And so what is Mother doing with her own presence and declaration of only begotten daughter? What is she doing to the mindset of the people that you're working with there in Asia? How does that adjust their mindset when they're looking at a religious movement such as ours, or however this movement of peace?
The game changer in that concept was when Mother emphasized the importance of God as our heavenly parent. Because traditionally in the Christian context, God is Father. And then this kind of emphasizes the patriarchal system. But Mother has now balanced that and said God is Father and God is Mother, God is a parent. So this is very natural in this culture. It's very welcomed. We say God is a parent. They said, yes, of course. I mean, yeah, it's got to be that way. So that's a game changer. It will change our attitude toward women. This is what Mother is doing.
I want to wrap it up with one final question that is unique to you, I think Mother's vision, and also your work in Asia. True Mother just recently, not so long ago, called you as the International Chairman of the Youth and Students for Peace. What does Mother hope to accomplish through this program that reveals her heart?
Mother's focus on youth and students has always been there. It's been under different names, but they've always had a very strong component for young people. And especially because the vitality of our movement in Asia is primarily young people. We've got lots and lots of young people. So this includes the education of young people. It includes very much the blessing of young people, and it includes their role in the future leadership of their nation. And Mother wants to invest without hesitation into the young people, for obvious reasons, because there's so much that they have to offer and so much they can offer.
What excites you about the potential of YSP as a movement, as a game changer movement in Asia today?
Well, it's not just in Asia, but I see it happening everywhere, in Asia particularly, because it's giving a focus and a direction to where we need to go. It's giving really, it's working with the governments in order to be able to address the critical issues of character education for young people. This is really detrimental. I'll give one example. In Thailand, the government is the parent of that country. They are in the parental position, and they are watching every year, is the situation with young people getting better or worse? How many young people are dropping out because of drugs? How many young people get pregnant? How many young people commit suicide? They know, they keep statistics. And they can see, the government can see year by year, and it's not just Thailand, but we have a big program in Thailand. And so I've heard this from Thai educators. Every year, it's getting worse and worse. And so the government is anguishing like a parent watching their children die slowly. And they want to solve the problem. And they are trying, and they are inviting other people to solve the problems. But then when they see our program and our educational initiative, I've heard this many times from the Thai, this is the best.
Wow.
What can we do to make it better? We've had 10 MOUs that we've signed outside of Bangkok, I think 12 of them within the Bangkok area with universities, and we're working with the government. When Mother came to Thailand, the Deputy Prime Minister was there to receive her, and the Minister of Education. So it's this opportunity to give guidance and direction to young people in the future, especially in the area of character education.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I think really this is the angle that I think you're really bringing out here, which whereas we're focusing on Christianity in large part for years in America, we can't do that in Asia to the same extent, right? So
in the Philippines, maybe just I'll add one thing. We are working with the government. We want to work with the government. They have initiated a K through 12. It's called Good Manners and Right Conduct, or the what do they say? Comprehensive Values Education. And we're working with our contacts, many of them congressmen and senators and educators, so that we can be able to integrate into the school system. In every school, they need 1 hour education on this, K through 12. If we can work with that, and then also train teachers with our college, our International Peace Leadership College. So we have the opportunity to train teachers. We have the opportunity to be involved in curriculum development. I think it's an amazing opportunity at this time. Mother's asking us to have one substantial nation. I think educational initiatives are a key to that.
Thank you, Dr. Kittle, for sharing such an amazing journey. Years and years of studying, investing, bridging, educating, and witnessing. What I really love about your testimony is how willing you were to also learn from others and acknowledge their own cultures and teachings so that you could make a bridge for true parents. I especially love the true mama tip that you gave us about patience and how mother guided you how to navigate the stormy clouds and those times when really patience is all that you can do. And this is incredible guidance from mother. I'm sure everybody is really happy to hear it. Of course, the chat box is exploding. So thank you everyone for sharing your love. And thank you, Dr. Kittle, for coming on the show. If there are families, by the way, watching right now from Asia, we love you and we'd like to share that love with you and enjoy the rest of the episode with you. We do have some very special guests coming on, whom I think some of you may know. But just a quick reminder to those who are watching live, we encourage you to offer your heartfelt comments in response to any part of today's show. It lets us know how you're doing. And you never know, your comment may be selected for our featured comment section. And by the way, I already checked one of the chats that came through, which I thought was kind of funny. VOC, the new VOC, victory over COVID. Victory over COVID. That's right. I mean, we're doing it, guys. This is us doing it. So God bless you. And now, to share more on the investment that went into preparing the lands of Asia to be fertile to true parents' love, let's get ready to welcome our special guests. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Today we have Mrs. Amy Yang and Mrs. Jeannie Kagawa. Amy joined in 1980 and she did a lot of missionary work, primarily in Taiwan. She also had some leadership roles in Japan before moving to the United States in 2001, working with UN and UPF. And Mrs. Jeannie Kagawa, an 1800 couple, also was a missionary to Asia, specifically in Malaysia, and as well as the Philippines and Thailand. I'd like to go first to you. Thank you, first of all, both for joining us, but I'd actually like to ask Jeannie the first question. Your first mission country was Malaysia, which is a Muslim country, correct?
That's right.
And we heard a little bit from
Basically
Dr. Kittle about working with the divine principle in a Muslim country. There was initial success when you were there. The church was growing, and yet then it was seen as a threat, and we got pushback from the government. I'm sure that pushback caused a lot of sacrifice. Could you describe for us what was going on in those early years?
Actually, Malaysia is about 50% Muslim, 40% Chinese Buddhist, and then other religions. So it's considered a multi-religious country, except that there's boundaries there. There are laws. Do not share your religion with Islam. Respect Islam, but you among yourselves you can work and you can share your religion. So when my husband, he was the first missionary there in 1975, and I joined him 4 years later. Still, it was not an easy task to begin to share about our divine principles to a country where there's tension and a little bit of it was so new and there was fear.
So were you somewhat underground from the beginning, or?
There was the time that Father faced so many difficulties in America, and in this sense, I think a missionary is like a lightning rod. If somehow there's difficulty with Father, immediately it comes to the country, and the missionaries there will face some trial. And so that was during the court case of Father, when he was facing the court case and the imprisonment. Immediately, the police actually were headed to our center to investigate us. And our members actually threw us into the car, packed our bags, threw us into the car, and we were going out as the police were coming in to visit the center. And from that time on, we knew we can never go to the center again, and that we have to work very quietly and stay in our own home and meet the leaders regularly and raise them, but we could not actually be seen in the center because it was under observation. And we were too. Actually, our phones were being listened to, and we found out that
your phones were tapped.
Yeah, we found out our phones were tapped.
So how were you communicating?
We acted like we were talking to the laundry, or every time we used the phone, we were talking to the laundry or to the kitchen or to some service. Actually, the leaders came every night to our home, and then that's through them. We relied totally on the leaders, or Chinese leaders. Actually, most of the members were Chinese Malaysian, and through that we just had our meetings and then raised them up to be the owners of the country. And it was difficult, but I have to say, my husband, this is the love of my husband's heart. He loves Malaysia. That's his first love.
Were you also in Thailand in those years?
We couldn't stay after we were there for 12 years, and there was some foundation made there, but with great difficulty.
It was around the same time that there were several members jailed in Thailand.
No, that was before we moved there. Our visa was terminated, and then we went to Thailand, and a year later. It was a thriving movement under the Continental Director, and Julia Kim was really very charismatic in the way she led the movement, and members were joining very quickly. But unfortunately, it's a Buddhist country. It's there's a monarchy there, and it's the only original monarchy, I could say. It's not a constitutional monarchy, so it's very, very strict. And there was fear about this growing movement, and then suddenly our centers were raided, and there was chaos, and 8 of our leaders were arrested and actually tried for treason against the king.
Serious.
It was very serious, and the penalty is execution or life imprisonment, and we were terrified.
Gosh.
And the police were, for 1 month, they were raiding every center, raiding every center, and we were really quite frightened. And we didn't know what was going to happen to our members, and they were looking for everything they could find.
This was not uncommon, right, in the Asia area. I mean, this is also, I know they were also struggling in the church in Taiwan at this point. Amy, you joined in the church in Taiwan, and I heard that you were actually, the church at this time was blacklisted by the government, and everyone was underground. And apparently you were the first member to join during that period. So tell us, how were you able to meet your spiritual parent? I mean, if I was a spiritual parent, if I was witnessing for a church that was blacklisted, I'm sure I'd be a little bit afraid and be very careful. What was your experience being witnessed to during that time period?
at that time is the Taiwan church most difficult time because all the witness cannot be allowed, and so 1975 the government closed the church in Taiwan, and actually I met my spiritual father is about 2 years. He checked me 2 years, and then he witnessed me, because at the time Taiwan church, even the top leader, they said don't witness because too dangerous.
Too dangerous. So for 2 years he witnessed to you without really telling you what he was doing.
Yes. And
couldn't tell you about True Parents or the church directly.
Oh, no. He just said we together study Bible like this, and I was Christian about 15 years old when so.
You were how old? How old were you, Amy? No, not now. Just
when I was 15
you were a
years old,
young lady.
I became a Christian, and
young
my
Christian.
Yeah, I hope I look younger. So
how many members? How many members were there in Taiwan?
Bible with me. So he did very well, and I met my spiritual father in the hospital because he was a medical doctor, and my uncle was sick, and so I took care of my uncle. So this is God's planning. Because
that was the first time you met him in the hospital.
Yeah, in hospital.
And how many members were there in the church? You know, by the time you joined, how many members were there?
At the time, about maybe 20 to 30.
Wow.
About 20, and at the time is very difficult because the Taiwan church, the similar with the Korea church, the early time. The best university, the students, they drop out school, and so parents is against.
I see.
And the Christian church also against, and also communism, and also society also against. So it's not easy for that time.
Your spiritual father must have also been worried about you, to invite you in, not just dangerous for the church, but it can be dangerous for you too.
Yeah, yes. If at the time I'm in the school, I may be kicked out from school because the society cannot allow. And so, and the media, they said we are the bad church, and so.
But anyway, Amy, they got you. They found you. He protected you, and they must have been. How did they feel when they found their new member? How, were they excited?
At that time, I joined church in the south of Taiwan. But when I went to the headquarters in Taipei, everybody knew me because all the year only 1 or 2 members also maybe not survive, could not survive. So everybody knew me, and then they're very exciting. Yeah, because after close church, I'm a first college members join the church, so they feel the hope, and they exciting.
How did tell me a little bit about your relationship with God? How did you, during the times when it was challenging, how did you persevere? How did you develop your faith with God? You were already Christian, but now you're kind of, it's like being on a boat and you're already on the journey before you realize where you're going. So it must have been a challenge. How did you keep your faith?
Oh, I keep the faith because the divine principle. Because at the time, true parents could not come to Taiwan, and we only through this divine principle, and also the life of faith, true parents course, so we can understand true parents. And at the time, when I first time I listened to divine principle, I was very inspired, because even I was Christian, but I have a lot of Christian, a lot of question for the Bible, for the life, or the meaning of the life. So when I founded the Divine Principle, I very, very, very appreciate. And also, most inspired is in the restoration, the history and God's heart, Heavenly Parents' heart. For this point, I really experienced a lot, because at the time, the Taiwan Church, the environment, we really can feel God's suffering. So when I feel the difficult or suffering, I feel the Heavenly Parents, God is suffering more than me. So I can really understood. So for me, I'm very pure heart, like a kid. I would like to offer the joy and the comfort to the many parents. So this filial piety helped me to overcome many difficulty, overcome very, very challenging time. And I also I pioneered one of the center without no new member, and 1 and 2 years they become the biggest not only church region in Taiwan. And even now Taiwan, the church leader and also the headquarters, the main staff is from this region.
From that time. So you're educating, and you were in which region were you growing? Were you responsible to grow the church?
Oh, at the time we call the region is Shilin. It's in the Taipei, and they have a lot of potential.
But there was no members there at that time.
No new member there. Yeah, no new member there.
No new members.
Yeah, but I bring a 2 to 3 the full-time member one day, and we do the we did the witness, and at the time, really, God blessing a lot. Every day we have 100 people coming to center, and really? 30 people pay money for study Divine Principle.
So they would pay to study.
Yeah, pay to study, and I also pray to God. Please let us can get the members, the Chinese members for this world, and we can really offer joy, offer comfort to you. I remember at the time, every day is really prayer, tears prayer, and really we make a lot of spiritual condition, and also we made the education system. We in the beginning they came to the center, they pay money to study Divine Principle, and then they can talk with the staff, and after that they join the seminar or the life or the faith, and after 2 months they become like an intern for the ministry, full-time member.
So you're bringing people in. So how big did you grow from just yourself in 1 or 2 years? How many could you grow?
About 200, 300 members.
200 or 300 members in 1 or 2 years. That's incredible. And now in that area in Taiwan, how many members are there now?
Now it's maybe only 5 members can. Nobody.
There?
Yeah, but the new leader, they want to.
Now how many now? They multiplied, right? So how many members are there today?
Oh, there's the 2/3 they still in the church, and the most century members is become the church leader in Taiwan.
I heard
also,
there's like 3,000 members there now, including second generation.
Yeah, and also So some headquarters, the century staff also from there.
So Amy, what would you say are the greatest lessons you learned on the front line?
For me, is I really emphasize this filial piety, because in the beginning, filial piety, the heart of the filial piety, because in the beginning, my central figure, the Madame Julia Kim, at the time she was the director of the Asia continent. So she would like to, he want to send me to this Shilin Center, and I said, I'm sister. I'm sister, and I'm weak. I cannot. But later he said, only you can go. So she tries. So I really go. But I know I really nothing. Without heavenly parents, true parents, really nothing. I only in the heart I want to offer to the heavenly parents, true parents, many piety, because I understood, I experienced their suffering in Taiwan. So
wow. Amazing.
I also had a dream with the true father at the time. True father said, you should work for the sacrifice cause for your people.
So in your dream, Father continued
like
to
the two parents' second son, the Hunjini sacrifice. He emphasized sacrifice. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Incredible. Amy, thank you. Jeannie, let's go back a moment to Thailand, if you could. In Thailand, after they got out of jail, what happened next?
They got out of jail after 2 years and 8 months. It took that long to get them out of jail. Wow. And it took a change of regime, because it was the army generals that put them in the jail for treason, and it was life imprisonment, penalty, or even execution. It was very serious, and the members are scattered in all directions. And what happened is that there were 500 members scattered and went to their homes, but one by one Thai leader outside the jail started bringing them to centers, 10, until he was able to bring them all back. And then we were able to have ambassadors for peace, a petition when there was a coup d'etat again, and then the generals are out of office, and then we put in a petition for the members to get out of jail, and finally they were out. And it was we just broke down and cried when we saw them. We went to the jail, and they just came out like birds coming out of a cage, and they were standing there, and we couldn't believe it. We were sobbing and crying, and everyone was so overwhelmed. Wow. And that began a new movement for them, with the 500 that came back to the movement after this traumatic experience of there were daily raids, bombarding of the police to the centers, and desecrating true parents' chairs and insulting, and it was the most frightening experience you can imagine.
So remind us again, what year was this?
That was, let me see, what year was that? In 1990. So 1990. And they were in jail for 2 years and 8 months.
Okay, and now that's 30 years. And so that's now, how would you compare the foundation then to now?
Now Thailand is thriving, and it is the most exemplary movement in Asia for a tribal messiah.
Here we have the famous Dr. Lek, who was in prison.
And Dr. Lek, who was in prison, and his wife Baihan, and the members came out of jail, and they began working. And well, it took 20 years for the case to be dropped. That's how difficult it was to overcome the treason charge. But they just kept working and kept working and making relationship with even the office of the king. They went up as far as they could in the government to make relationships and embrace them. And, finally they're just very well respected. And even mayors and governors are having mass weddings.
Amazing.
Mass
And
blessings.
we're working with the government
Scale.
now.
And
Right?
we're working with the government as well.
Because the government actually is kind of a parental government, right? The monarchy is a parental one. They treat their citizens as children, ideally, right?
Yes, they're very centered on the family.
And so now
they
working with the
promote
government,
family.
how many people are blessed in Thailand now?
My goodness, I can't even count. They have so many. They have
Too many to count. That's a good thing.
Tens of thousands of couples in provinces and regions. It's an exemplary country now. The country that suffered the most and shed the most tears is now the most successful country in Asia for tribal Messiah.
Yes,
Amazing.
and it's famous for it, and we're all really grateful. We're learning a lot from them. And I also need, obviously, a shout out to Dr. Leck, but all of the leaders, all of the members, the tribal Messiahs, there's so many of them. They all belong right here, right now in this conversation. But
that's right.
But it's such an opportunity to ask you, in going back to those years, again, same question I asked to Amy, how did you get through the challenges? What kept your faith strong?
My belief in Father, as really, Father is the person who achieved the highest level. I've experienced Father myself. How do I say? It was my belief in Father and understanding that Father went through worse trials than we went. Father's imprisonment was much worse than what the Thai members went through. The difficulties in Philippines as well. We were charged with mail order bride, and 8 members almost had a foot in the jail there. We had court cases. We had tremendous trauma in the Philippines, and I just understood that whatever we went through was not as heavy and as terrible as what Father went through his imprisonment and his life in North Korea. And that's what, kept my faith going.
And you had training, of course, right? I heard there was I think a really impactful story at a training in East Garden when you were very close to Father. Can you share that?
Was that in East Garden?
I heard that you were having a training session with Father.
Oh, we were having a training session at Belvedere. Yeah, okay.
Belvedere, okay.
Yes,
Belvedere.
all right. And yes, and we, that was from France. We went to Belvedere, and we were trained to go on IOWC. And at that time, I was in the second row. I walked into the room, and there was only one empty seat. It was right in the second row. And Father was very angry that day, and he took his microphone and he just banged it right on the ground. And the title of his speech was Cain and Abel. And then immediately my head just went, I was terrified. Father was really angry, and it was right in front of me. Banged that microphone.
Your head was going down?
My head was down.
That's understandable.
And my spiritual life at that point was self-accusation was, the game, the game of the day. I was always accusing myself day and night, and that I'm not worthy, and I was so scared, and just a spiritual battle began. And one voice said, you're nothing. You're just just a drop in the ocean. You're just unworthy. You're evil. You're Cain, because Father was talking about Cain. And another voice said, no, he's your father. He's your father. You can't be afraid of your father. You have to raise your head and you have to look at him straight in the eyes. And so I mustered all my strength, and I lifted my head and I looked at Father straight in the eyes. And Father was turning around, and then our two eyes met like this. And then I was lunged completely out of my chair in his direction. Just like some impact came like this, and then boom, I was flying in his direction. And I was shocked. And also Father was shocked. And I thought, well, why is Father shocked? I'm shocked, yes, but why is Father shocked? And then he turned away, and then he was blushing. His cheeks were red, and he was really blushing. Why? Because he had been shouting continuously coming into the room until now about Cain and Abel. And then this incident happened, and then he was, then he kind of changed, and he became really mellow, and he would just, I felt this energy coming from Father that was just unbelievable energy. And, it was an incredible experience.
Advent in the eye when he's, speaking strongly, then maybe that helps you to survive the challenging years ahead. Well,
that helped me and survive my experiences in Malaysia. The memory of Father.
Jeannie, a wrap-up question here, if you would just briefly but deeply bring us home here. What are your final reflections on the success that True Mother has brought specifically to this part of the world in Asia now?
I reflected a lot on my experience with Father that time, that, Father, he could not have had that impact in that situation with me if he were not zero. And he himself was shocked that it happened, that impact that came to me. And then I realized that Father is zero in front of God. That was the key for me about Father. He's selfless. He's so selfless that he is totally zero in front of God, and God can just use him like this. And I see Mother in the same light, that Mother is zero in front of God, in front of Father. And the way I see Mother is, after the Father passed away and at the Sungwan, I was watching her, and she describes her trials like walking in the desert. And I really feel this is Mother at that time without Father and facing so much difficulty around her. She had to really become zero in front of God and offer herself
0 point.
in order to be able to rescue and to save all of us. And I deeply respect Mother for that. And she has become an absolute instrument of Father since that time and has gotten victory, just like as Father has gotten victory. But I see them both at that 0 point, which for us, can we say that we are zero in front of God? I don't think so, but I think Mother and Father have achieved it, and also with each other have been united in facing God in that way. And I think that is why God's blessing pours through them wherever they go.
Well, thank you. We heard a great story, a sharing from Dr. Robert Kittle, and it's an honor to be able to meet with both of you here, representing all the missionaries who worked so hard and invested to make this land, all these various nations and cultures and religious practices in Asia ready to receive true parents. Clearly, Asia is booming. Thank you both so much. We're grateful for you coming on the show and sharing your incredible experiences with us. Also, I want to remind the viewers, if you're watching live, now's a good time to write your responses, your thanks, your messages of love for Amy and Jeannie and Robert. And with that, ladies, I'd like to thank you again both. All our love to you. Please stay safe. And right now, to wrap up the show, we're going to go straight to featured comments from our live studio audience. All right. What do we have? We have something here from Anthony. Thank you very much for bringing divides together, being a bridge, and making realistic efforts to solve real societal problems. Wonderful, says Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. And from Daryl, I'm so inspired by Dr. Kittle because his example has deepened my conviction towards reaching out to other faiths. Ideas I've had in my heart in which he has applied. Certainly, I agree. God bless you, our great brother. Beautiful. And from Libby, our missionaries are amazing people. Father gave to other countries. It's like a gift, true parents giving the missionaries to other countries. They would have been the foundation for us in America, but were given to the world. Libby, that's a deep point. I feel so proud of them. Now, because of COVID and this program, we can inherit all the inspiration from them as we are getting ready to take True Mother's memoirs out. Beautiful point, Libby. Thank you so much. Very good point. And we're looking forward to hearing more stories from our missionaries coming up. But next, What are they all talking about these days in the village square, I wonder? Just what Libby was talking about. This apparently is what everyone is talking about. True Mother's autobiography, True Mother's memoir. I've got to tell you, though, it's not just about the book. Okay, it's not just about the book. The book is a vehicle. It's about where the book takes you. It's about where it takes you. You know, do you sometimes feel distant from true parents? Have you ever wondered what goes on in the mind of True Mother? Did you want to know what the world looks like through her eyes? Well, go to motherofpeace.com to find out. You can get your own copy today and pledge some more for your friends, family, and tribe. Next, I want to share with you about the Chosen website. We have a website called chosenworkshops.com, and you can get some great stuff there. You go to chosenworkshops.com. First of all, a new feature I'd like to roll out today, which is love letters. We're introducing this for you to be able to send a love letter of gratitude to True Mother or to Dr. Kim and the team. Just go to chosenworkshops.com/love letters, and you'll fill out this simple form to send us your note. Next, I'd like to remind you again about the All Access package. We are on a journey around the world with True Parents. There's still so much to discover and so little time. That's why we want to keep doing our best for you. We're going to be packaging so much to fit into this box. It's ridiculous. As each episode airs live, it is added to the library. We're going to be adding extra footage and other interviews that we couldn't fit into the live show. Plus, we're assembling some of the greatest resources for you, such as interactive timelines of True Parents' lives. You know, this work is not simple. We have a big team working overtime, and our equipment is also working overtime. Did you notice yesterday there was a sound issue for a few minutes? Yeah, that happened actually because Albin's soundboard fried. It fried. Actually, it melted mid-show. That means no more sound, guys. And yet somehow the sound came back. Why? Because he had a backup. That's right. Or perhaps some of you noticed that the restream was mysteriously deleted from the server yesterday when you went back to watch the show in the evening. Did we lose it? No, because we had a backup. That's right. Our team is doing whatever we can to help you feel like you are in the same room as true parents. And you know, this whole series, it's actually priced at $197, but we had this whole discussion with the team, and we thought, no, we want to offer it to all those who are watching for the 21 days. We want to offer it at $47. And honestly, I've got to say, if you don't enjoy the experience, then don't buy it. Don't buy it, because you can save $47. That also lets us know how we're doing. Are we giving you what you need, what you want, or are we not? But if you do like it, then come on, guys, for the price of a couple of medium-sized pizzas, go for it. Not only does it let us know that we're on the right track, but it will help us continue to do more. And oh boy, do we want to do more. So you can go to chosenworkshops.com and access that, or hit the button below right now to access that full bonus pack featured. And what's coming up tomorrow, I wonder? Well, we're going all the way back home to Korea, the land of unparalleled devotion. We met with Reverend Ki-sung Lee, the president of the Korean Church, and he took us on such a deep journey, such a deep expression of love and attendance and heart for God and True Parents. We simply had to wrap it all up in that one word, devotion. Truly, Korea is the land of unparalleled devotion. So to find out more about that, join us tomorrow for the feature. You know, on behalf of Dr. Kim, our North American Regional Chair, and on behalf of all of this amazing team and all of the contributors, we want to thank you. Thank you for watching. And remember, no matter where you are in your journey, our goal with each episode is to bring you deeper in your living relationship with the most amazing couple in human history, our true parents. Thank you for watching. We'll see you right here, same time tomorrow. In the meantime, please stay safe.